But we talked about Jeff Saturday with Eric Dickerson, and Rob, I'm sorry. I think it's.
But you're not the only one, Chris. You're
I haven't heard one person yet, including Jeff Saturday,
right,
who said like it makes sense, and he's obviously defending his football knowledge, and he know, and then nobody's question. I'm sure he knows the game. But that don't mean it doesn't. Hasn't every offensive coordinator that's been given a head coaching job known the game?
Right. And Chris, and you know how many have failed? You know how hard it's right. These are guys who are putting the time and the energy, and they fail.
Absolutely, Rob. I really think, and I don't know. I mean, I guess Jeff Saturday maybe has had aspirations to be a head coach, right? He was on TV. He seemed like he was doing that fine.
Yeah, but he said that when they offered him the job, he was shocked.
He was shocked, right?
That's what he said.
I think he's obviously friendly with Jim Irsay, and maybe he shared with Irsay that, I might one day want to, get in the coach. I don't know. But my point is this, Rob, and I said this yesterday with Ephraim. If Jeff Saturday really, if coaching is really a huge aspiration of his and he really wants to make a career out of being a head coach, Rob, I think he should have said this to Jim Irsay. When Irsay last week offered him the job, like, Jim, I'm interested, but let me look into a staff. Let me do some, get myself ready, and then I'll coach your team next year.
Right.
Like, give me an off season. In fact, this season, I'll start now, putting my thoughts together. You know what I mean? Like, talking to people, asking people different questions. Like, Rob, a seasoned coach.
But see, Chris, you know why they didn't want to do that?
Stepping in at this point in the season.
But the reason they didn't want to do that is because then they would have to be open to interviewing minorities.
Rooney Rule.
The Rooney Rule. And then they would be like, how did you pick Jeff Saturday over Eric Bieniemy, over Leftwich? That's why he had to do it this way.
Or not even just black. Well, you're
right.
But
I'm just saying.
The number one thing would have been minority. You choosing a guy with no experience over minority.
And let's give the Irsays credit. They've had two black coaches.
Right.
Okay, so I'm not saying
Tony
that their
Dungy,
family.
Jim Caldwell.
Yeah,
right.
and
their only Super Bowl was with a black coach.
And Caldwell replaced Tony Dungy. You know what I mean, Chris?
Right.
So I give them credit. I'm not saying
it's not saying they're racist.
They're racist or that whatever. But the point is, it just would look bad because we still have this issue, and there's so fair. Many, you know what I mean? Black coaches still looking for their opportunity, Chris. So to pass over those guys with those resumes for a guy with no experience, then they'd have some splaining to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then it would look bad.
That makes all the sense in the world. Because now you're right. Like, this is exempt from the Rooney Rule.
Yes.
He's an interim. But Jim Irsay said himself that he wants him to, hopefully going forward, he'll be their coach. And, I'm sure he's thinking he can come in and see what he likes, what he doesn't like. He can establish his culture and all that. But Rob, this is the most. And look, we'll see. I mean, I'm a little torn in that. And I don't know Jeff Saturday from Adam. Okay. Never met him. I wouldn't mind seeing him succeed. He seems like a legitimately nice guy.
Oh, no.
He was a good player.
From everything I've seen, I never worked with him at ESPN. I think he was there after us.
He wasn't there when we were there. Yeah, he seems good. I like him on TV, right?
Yeah, he seemed like a really nice guy. It's nothing personal against him, but
here's the other, this is where I'm torn, right? So part of me would like to see him succeed. But then the other part of me is like, well, and maybe, I don't know, maybe this isn't a bad thing, but if he succeeds.
Oh, this will be happening.
This would turn the whole NFL coaching carousel on its head. And again, that might not be a bad thing.
Well, the only problem is, Chris,
or particularly for minority coaches.
Well, only if, I don't know if they're in tight with owners like that to where that could happen. See, and then it would be more like, hey, we can circumvent the Rooney Rule, do it this way. You know what I mean? Like, there's all kinds of things.
Don't you think they would amend, if they had to, I could see them just amending the Rooney Rule.
If this
I don't know if that would be, I don't know if this, say he succeeded. I don't know if that would be any worse for black coaches. Just it's already doesn't seem good for them, right?
Well, only because
it might be worse, but I don't know for sure. But it would turn everything upside down.
Yeah, it just depends on knowing somebody. You know what I mean? Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
which let's face it, a lot of black coaches. That's part of the problem now. Is they don't know, or if they know them, they're not tight.
They're not that friendly,
they're
right?
not familiar, right? It's just a different.
And people normally hire people who they know, so that. But it's not fair when guys have put in the work and they've given them all these things that they need to do. I will admit, as much as I don't believe Jeff Saturday will succeed in doing this, I think it's a crapshoot. And the chances are that it's not going to be good. I'm actually going to be betting against the Colts every week for the rest of the season. I'm just straight up. I'm straight up, Chris. Every week.
It's going to be really interesting.
But I would like to see him beat Josh McDaniels this week. I'm sorry, Rob G. If they
you brought that up.
If they beat the Raiders.
We mentioned the coordinators who, Rob, we've seen guys who were great coordinators. And Josh McDaniels, if you want to give the credit to Belichick or Tom Brady or whoever, look, he was
offensively,
for some of those
credit,
Super Bowls.
right.
And he seems that he did a great job. But he has been abysmal as a coach. Abysmal. In Denver, abysmal. 13 or 11-17, I think was his record. And abysmal, obviously, with the Raiders. Because let's see, Rob. The Raiders went 10-7 last year with a different coach, Rich Bisaccia, who replaced John Gruden, made the playoffs, added Devontae Adams and Chandler Jones, and now they're 2-6. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the coach.
Right.
You said it. If he loses to Jeff Saturday, we were joking with Eric Dickerson about he can't even come to the locker room. But, Rob, if you lose to Jeff Saturday, first of all, you've got way more talent, right?
No doubt.
And secondly, I mean, the dude just a week ago, he was doing what you and I are doing.
No doubt. He was standing in front of a camera talking about
making
football.
Us laugh. Really?
And Chris, it would be amazing. And I think if you're Josh McDaniels, this is what you can't. This would be taking your nightmare first year with the Raiders to another level. It really would be. And people would be up in arms because there's no way the Raiders should be this bad. Just no way.
No, right. That's number one. They shouldn't be 2-6, number one. But if you lose, I agree.
And
this would be Chris, way worse than Nathaniel Hackett.
Right. No doubt.
The 64-yard field goal, as bad as that was, Rob, I honestly, I don't know that Mark Davis would do this.
He won't do it.
He would be justified if they lost to the Colts, if he fired Josh McDaniels right then and there. You would be justified.
You would be, and only one little caveat. Rob G, are you there? This is the way I want it to go down. The Raiders are up 17-0, and then they lose to the Colts.
Jeez.
You're the
worst,
Chris, they've lost three games.
Right. You know what the record, the
Rob
NFL
G,
record
would
is
you be
for
sick?
losses in a season where you've led by 17 points or more?
4?
3.
3, and they have it.
They've tied it already, and they got half a season left.
Rob G, as a Raiders fan, just be, call it like you see it. If they do lose to the Colts, would you be open for them to fire Josh McDaniels?
They should have fired him last week.
Right. Really?
He's a horrible head coach. I'm not saying he's not a good play caller or anything like that. Obviously, he proved that in New England. But he is not a leader of men. We talked about it last week. Devontae Adams, who doesn't talk, has gone on record multiple times.
Remember we said we didn't hear him talk until he got the Taco Bell commercial.
Exactly. And then, we'll get into this with Lamar Mitchell here in about 20 minutes. But the Raiders opened up, I think, as 6-point favorites at home. That number's been bet down to 4.5.
Now that's crazy.
So I'm gonna say
that's
what
crazy.
Does that say about how people feel about the Raiders right now?
My mind is telling me there's no way the Raiders could lose this game.
I totally agree, Chris. I'm betting heavy Raiders.
My gut is telling me it's possible.
Wow.
I mean, we're like, I think the Raiders will win. They
I'm gonna
gotta
say,
win.
Chris,
It's almost like Rob, if you took Alabama or whoever, Ohio State, Michigan, and had them play the worst team in the NFL. There's no way they should win.
I'm gonna tell you straight up. I've never talked about how much money I bet on a game, but I'm gonna be straight with you. No lie, no BS. I'm betting the Raiders. What'd you say the line is, Rob G? 4.5?
Right now it's 4.5, according to BetMGM.
Right. Minus 4.5. And I'm going to put a $500 wager on that game. I think this is the lock of the year.
You would think.
We're going to get the microwave takes ready on Monday.
You got it? You got the
microwave takes ready.
Well, how you feel about it, Rob G?
Rob G, you think I'm crazy? Seriously.
Every logical part of your being is saying Raiders. But my gut's not telling me they're going to lose. Well, my gut's saying, there's a decent
And you know
chance.
what it'll be, Rob G? It's the Raiders will win by 3, and I'll lose $500, right?
No, what? And I think they're going to win. But to say that they'll lose, I don't think is far-fetched at all. Because even if Jeff Saturday's not a good coach, he doesn't have to be, right?
Yeah, but they don't have a quarterback.
But
they got a lot of other issues.
Here's the thing. This is just even a practical football sense.
Right.
They got Jonathan Taylor.
Right.
They can run him 35 times because Jeff Saturday is like, hey, I want to run the football. The Raiders don't stop the run very well. And you can tell on the offensive end, the Raiders are fracturing underneath McDaniels as head coach.
Right. But they don't have had these leads, though. Yeah, 17 points. They've got
but they always blow him because
they
they don't have any confidence in him, it looks like.
Right.
And you're seeing Devontae Adams say little snide comments. Derek Carr's like, well, I'm not going to say it publicly, but we'll talk about it. And, like, you can feel it crumbling right now. And if they lose, it's just going to break completely.
To me, a lot of it comes, like whether or not the Colts have a legitimate chance to win, comes down to this. Are the players in that locker room disgusted that Jeff Saturday was hired?
Yeah, that's another one.
That's it. To me, that's it. If the players are like,
faction. You know why?
We retired to Frank Reich,
but Reggie Wayne was there.
He's a former player. Let's go. If they, or even if they're just like, hey, it's all right, cool, whatever. We're going to go out there and do our thing. Then they have a decent chance. If they are like, man, are you serious? Like, we out here busting our butts.
And they brought a high school coach. And you bringing in
somebody, a high school coach. Like, if that's their attitude, they got absolutely no chance. But to me, that's the big thing. And I know I don't want to just belittle the head coach. But obviously, he's just going to be relying on the other guys for the first. He's going to be there as the voice, right?
I agree, but the only problem with that, Chris, is that those coaches have already been there when they've been losing. You know what I mean? So if he's relying on them, it's not like they changed the whole staff and everything's changing. That's why I just don't think they're that good, and I think that this is a game that the Raiders can't afford to lose. I really believe that.
Josh, you're right. Well, they're done pretty much if they lose.
Right. But Josh could be his career. As a head coach.
Look, I know they paid him money. Rob, like I said, they would be fully justified to not even let him coach another day. I mean, if they lose, I don't want to say don't let him get on the plane or the bus or whatever, but come on.